All right. Hello, Revolutionary Peace Project people. So I was just playing with the blurry background. I don't like it. It makes it feel like I'm fake. I don't want to put myself in a mountain pasture. So you get to see my actual kitchen because it just feels more real. And if I turn us the other way, it's too light behind me and you can't see me. So like instead of washing myself out, you can just get a view of where I live. You can see my shopping bag. Um, so full transparency, I just recorded this whole, oh no, sorry, that's not true. I just did this whole episode and realized I didn't record it. So I did live today with my people. I did one all by my lonesome. So this is take 3. So welcome to take 3. We'll see how it goes. I've already hit record, so we're actually here. This week is revolutionary feeling. So discussing actual feelings, emotions, and sensations in our body. So this is actually wrapping up this part of revolutionary peace. So we had revolutionary health, how our physical body, our being, is necessary to our peace. That we are in a body that is energized, that is well fed, that is well rested, that we have been treating well, being peaceful with ourselves, like feeling well within ourselves, being well with others, is much easier when we are only half healthy. We are only half here. And then last week we did core values, and using those core values to help us clear up decisions, make choices that may prove to be a little bit challenging if we don't know what foundation we're standing on. So using those as guideposts to help us move our way through our lives. I heard something very interesting today. That was, we use 7 hours a week. I'm actually going to share the article, but we use 7 hours a week in decision making. So, oh my goodness, that's like a full work day and making decisions. And it's everything. I'm assuming that when they say making decisions, it's everything. From where are you going to eat to what time are you going to bed? Are you going to the gym? To are you going to buy that shirt? Do I really need that from Amazon? All week long, we are making decisions. No wonder we have decision fatigue. So if we can simplify that process or even speed it up just a little bit, maybe just like 3.5 hours a week decision making, through using our core values to help us come to a decision that feels right in our soul faster. So this week, give me a second as I make the weird faces while I share my screen. Pull up this, and then I know this, oh, it's going to move easy this time. See, when I did it by myself, that last time it didn't move easy. So beautiful. There we go. We have a full screen of revolutionary feeling, sensations and feeling, your key to peace. So if we've got a healthy body and we've done the self-study, we've got self-responsibility, we have self-awareness. So that's like monitoring our inner. So this week is about monitoring kind of our outer, like our more, what's the word I want? Like the sensations in your body. So more 3D, more here, and less in the mind, more into the physical. So I love these pictures. Aren't these beautiful? This is looking at Happy Mountain in Machu Picchu. This is in Minca, Colombia. I do use all of my own pictures because I have so many beautiful pictures. I might as well put them to use. So peace is not a lack of feeling or emotion. It is the place that we acknowledge and accept them. So if we are searching for peace, that means we no longer have feelings or emotions. We are not going to find it. Or if we do, as we find out a little later in these slides, it is not going to be a peace that serves us or is sustainable. So peace is not a lack of feeling or emotion, meaning that we can be angry, sad, happy, excited, all of those things. There's actually only a few core emotions. The others are feelings, but emotions, there's core. If you've seen the movie, it's going to escape my mind right now. I saw it in Spanish. Oh, we'll let it come to me. But you know what I'm talking about, where all the feelings are there. And that's going to drive me crazy, just so you know. Um, but feelings and emotions are similar, but not the same. So I have a controversial opinion, and maybe others do too. I don't know. So are we actually overreacting? My controversial opinion is that we are not an over-emotional society. Now, it may appear that way, but I think that we maybe are a reactive society that has lost the pause. So what I mean by that is like when the thing of the doctor and they hit the hammer on your knee and your leg jerks out and you cannot not do it, even though you know it's coming, you can't not do it. That we are not over feeling. I think we're under feeling, which is causing us to be overreactive because we're not in touch with our internal calm, and we're not in touch with our physical body. So we're just reacting all of the time to what comes our way without pausing. So that responsibility, that reactive that we touched on a little bit in week 2, kind of comes back a little bit here. So here's part of why I think that might be the case. We are too busy numbing. And I don't believe we are only numbing what doesn't feel good. Are you open to love? Do you trust when good things happen? There's a very popular saying, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Are you receptive to kindness? When somebody is kind to you, are you automatically assuming there's an ulterior motive, or do you accept kindness at the surface level as it is? If we are always numbing and something like punctures through that numbness, we're going to be reactive. If something punctures through our peace, we're gonna, we're like, I had this perfect bubble, I had everything set, don't move it, don't touch it, and then something does, and then we react. So we're going to touch on those just a little bit more in a moment. But a little key in what's different here and how we're going to use it. Learning to listen to your body, to learn to know ourselves. So sensation is an awareness or perception of a physical feeling in the body. I talk about the difference between sensation and pain in yoga because yoga asks us to be very aware of our physical body because we don't want to injure ourselves, but we also don't want to hinder ourselves because of sensation. So being very aware of the difference between the two. Pain is that knee-jerk reaction. Pain is something that causes you to like draw back quickly, gasp, yelp. Pain has a very specific feeling. Sensation is when your body is feeling something and you have to be still to identify it. Like you're in a deep posture and you're feeling a lot of sensation, but it's not pain. It's just something your body's not used to feeling. And then with sensation, there is an intensity of pressure, of temperature, of texture. I was joking that like a hand on the face, if I said a hand on the face, it could be like a loving hand, like, you're rubbing the face of a baby or your loved one, or it could be a smack across the face. Like it's the same hand, same object, different intensity, different pressure, different temperature. So being aware of the sensations in your body and listening to them. So feelings different, not pain, not sensation, feelings. When we connect an emotion to how we are feeling in our body. So if we're feeling nervous, our body will have a physical reaction to that. Maybe sweaty palms, maybe a faster heart rate, maybe butterflies in your stomach. And beginning to recognize in our body what those feelings, like how our body responds to those feelings. Where do we feel anger? Where do we feel joy? Where do we feel gratitude? Where do we feel peace? Where is that in your body? I know for me, I know peace is at my heart. How do I know? Because when I have moments that I'm awestruck, my hand always goes to my heart. And it may not be the same for all of us. Some of us, face, head, it can be anywhere, but just noticing you. And then a funny and interesting one of why it's so important, just like we did self-study of our thoughts. self-study of our bodies. So a show that I love, it's called Miss Adrenaline. It's actually in Spanish. Um, she is Miss Adrenaline. I don't even know that that needs more explanation. But she says at some point that when she realized that nervousness and excitement felt the same, she chose to feel excitement. So we also, just like we have power over our minds, we can choose on our interpretation of those sensations in our body. I'm not saying we lie to ourselves and say that our hungry stomach is, something other than a hungry stomach, but that we have the ability to reframe. So the connection, when we fine tune our ability to sense or acknowledge the sensations in our body, we become more clear on the feeling we are experiencing. So using your body to receive and interpret information. There's a very small place between sensation in our body and creating a feeling, thought, and therefore a reaction. So when we listen, when we tune into our body, we are able to find information that otherwise we wouldn't have known. I feel like I'm repeating myself because I feel like there's something I want to say and it's just not coming. So we're going to keep going and it will come to me just like inside out, just like that, just like the name of the movie. And this is actually why I love live, because I am like this in real life. I am like this all the time. And I think life is sometimes messy. Like I said, this is my third time doing this today. Part of me feels like I'm repeating myself because I am. Beyond our mind, we have an awareness and a knowledge in our body. And that is what I wanted to mention. So when we are present in our bodies, we are always, or I'm sorry, when we're not present in our bodies, we are always getting signals and messages. Like when we're tired, that's a signal that we need to sleep. When we have low back pain, maybe it's a signal your hamstrings are tight. Maybe it's a signal that you've worked too hard. Maybe it's a signal of something else. But our body is always feeding us information. Our body is always trying to speak to us, but it doesn't have words. It only has sensations. And when sensations don't work, it has pain. So our job is to feel those sensations in our body, acknowledge them. And we often do the opposite. We either pretend we don't feel it, or we are going to power through it, or we're going to deny it, or until it becomes where we can't power through it. We can no longer deny it. We've now manifested something in our body that is going to require our attention, whether it's illness, injury, sickness. It will bring itself through eventually if we don't listen. So have you considered the purpose and importance of physical sensations, of emotions? So that's what I'm talking about. Like there is a purpose behind the sensations we are feeling in ourselves. There is a purpose behind where you have an edge. Our edges are there for boundaries, not so that we can feel restricted, but so that we can actually feel something. Without a boundary, we don't feel anything. So when you are like, oh, this is as much as I can do, that's beautiful. That's exactly where you want to be. If that's as much as you can do, how amazing that you have actually found your edge. So those sensations, do you see them as a way to bring you back to a place of peace or something that sweeps you away? So that's going to be your self-talk, how you decide to interpret what's happening. When we feel far from ourselves, we are reminded to return. And this is a really important point. I want you to know that when you feel like somebody will meditate and they'll say, the minute they say, I can't do this, I'm not present, the moment you notice you're not present, guess what? You're present, because a not present you couldn't have made that observation. The not present you was there when you were writing your shopping list or daydreaming about what you're doing tomorrow or rehashing an argument you just had with a friend. But the moment you notice that you were doing that, you're present. So there's no shame in that game because you've already won. You're already back. You're already there in your body. Da, 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 da. So here we go to ways that we interrupt our peace. So I had mentioned we were just talking about feelings and sensations, and now we're going to talk about the opposite side of feeling and sensation, which is numbing. Numbing interferes with our personal peace by disconnecting us from our authentic emotions and experiences. True peace requires emotional awareness and the ability to sit with and process uncomfortable feelings and not escape from them. And that is why we're going to start with distractathon. I didn't before, but after reading that sentence, we're going to start there because that is one thing that is causing our numbness, which is causing our overreactiveness because we are not over emotional. We are under feeling. And when we start feeling, we're going to have better control over our own peace and our own reactions. So we're going to start with a distractathon. Relying on numbing behaviors prevents us from developing healthier coping strategies. So the world is going to keep happening and we're going to need coping strategies, whether it's breath work, meditation, yoga, going for walks, runs, talking to a therapist, taking this class. When we are always distracted, whether we're Netflix binging, endless scrolling, keeping ourselves extra busy with work, we are avoiding our true emotions, making lasting peace harder to achieve. So know that coping strategies, it sounds kind of negative. I don't know if I like those words. I might try to change them. I don't know what I'll make them, but that we do need ways, that's why you're here, to deal with being human. And when I put it that way, being human, we're human. We're here and we're human and we're going to have emotions and we're going to have feelings if we're going to have a human experience. If we're going to continue to numb ourselves, we're going to miss out on the beauty that is being human. So underneath that, the emotional shrug. Over time, unresolved emotions build up and manifest as increased anxiety and stress, or even physical discomfort. It's kind of what I was just mentioning. Have ended up getting sick because we just keep stuffing things in and not letting ourselves process it. The avoidance of dealing with these emotions prevents you from resolving the root causes. So if we are not addressing what is actually happening and we are just pushing our feelings down, eventually we either explode or we get sick. The emotional shrug will only work for so long until we can no longer carry it. So similar but different, the emotional snooze button. So when we hit pause, when we suppress, so this is that numbing of fear, sadness, anger. But when we do that, we also block out joy and connection. We block out the ability to feel the good when we're unwilling to feel the negative. So I can never say his name, Kabril Gibran. I don't even know. The book is The Prophet. I have lots of things that I know, but I don't really know, right? But I love, the first time I read it, I was like, this is a really weird book and kind of hard to read until I got to the chapter on joy is sorrow carved out. And that we create our vessels through our negative emotions to hold and appreciate our positive. So if we are only letting ourselves go this deep, we're only going to be able to fill that much with the positive. But if we are willing and able and okay with letting those feelings, those deeper, darker feelings come, know that your joy, your happiness, your peace will fill that space because it will fill with gratitude. It will fill with a knowing. I know some people don't like this, but that realization that if it can be this bad, it can be this good. Like when we feel real sadness, when we know real sadness, which so many of us do, then when something really amazing happens, our appreciation for it is doubled, quadrupled, like it's magnified because we have felt the other side. So this emotional avoidance creates inner imbalance, making true peace impossible. Those negative emotions they have a 90-second shelf life, 90 seconds, if we allow ourselves to feel them. That is the trick. So when we rehash, when we continue to retell the story, when we continue to dwell on it, when we continue to identify with it as part of what makes us us, then we continue to relive it and experience that again. We'll come to that on the last slide. And I'm so sorry, but after talking through this 3 times, I feel like I'm repeating myself. And I'm like, no, I did not tell you this yet. So when you allow yourself an emotion in the moment, it has about a 90-second shelf life. Like I said, if somebody cuts you off in traffic and you're really angry about it, and it lasts 90 seconds, but then you go home and you tell somebody at home about it, you get another 90 seconds. Great, right? And then you go to work the next day and you tell them about it, you get another 90 seconds. So just being aware of it. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't process, and I'm not saying we shouldn't share. I'm saying being really mindful of, is that share intentional? Does that share have purpose? Does that share actually make you feel better or worse? The hidden heart and numbing of our feelings, we tuck away the truest parts of ourselves, letting the outside world only see a polished mask. This lack of authenticity creates an inner conflict, making it harder to live in alignment with our core values, which are essential for peace. So this is the part, first we've distracted, then we've blown it off, and then we've hit the snooze button on feeling anything. I don't want to feel anything. But in that numbing of our heart, we're losing ourselves, not only for ourselves, but also for others. So maybe I should have said that the other way, not even for others, but we're also losing ourselves for ourselves, knowing who we truly are, knowing how we truly feel. What makes us feel joy? What makes us feel sad? Like getting to know that authentic part of you, those core values of you, so that you don't have to hide anymore. So where is your escape hatch? It may not be where you think. Numbing can be any way that we distract ourselves. What determines how we are using them? Our intention. So gossiping, I don't know, maybe gossip the good stuff. Start telling your friends all of the stories about the great things that happened. When I had a roommate here, I was living a little further out, so I had to ride the Collectivo every day. And I was riding with locals, and every day I came home, I had an awesome story. And I would share with her. I didn't share the, this happened, or the negative things. I would share something amazing that happened that day. Scrolling our phones, using alcohol, nicotine, and marijuana. I will say that when I was getting divorced, I was 29 when I was getting divorced. And as I think is not super uncommon, some people may turn to alcohol in that time. And I know I did. And I would go out on the weekends that I didn't have my kids, and it was a way to numb. It was an escape hatch, without a doubt. I would wake up the next day feeling heavier, feeling more sad, feeling less joy than I did before. And I recognized it because luckily I was also doing some work at that time. So I was aware of the impact it was having on me, and that it was not serving a purpose other than in that precise moment when I was using it to numb what I was feeling. And that the bounce back from that was a net negative to me. Over busying our schedules, whenever we have an open spot in our day, we're filling it up. I know this because with some of my very best friends, when we try to schedule things together, sometimes it's 4, 5, 6 weeks out. Our schedules are crazy. Allowing yourself time in your schedule to just be. Why are we so busy? Maybe asking ourselves that question. What are we running from in our busyness? Is life really that busy, or are we just saying yes too often, or not saying no often enough? Do we have FOMO? Like, what is the reason? What is your busy schedule accomplishing for you? Exercise and sports. Yes, some of us can use those as ways to distract, as ways to escape, and that can be a positive or a negative. So just being aware. And sleep, I put this on here because I am a stress sleeper. I will use sleep as a way to avoid. And so I'm aware of it. I know that I've had situations where I don't want to deal with what's going on, so I go and hide and sleep. So just putting that on the list as you start to think about yours. So this was what I had mentioned. What we express, we experience. Not only do we experience, but what we express, we create in the experience of those around us. Through this awareness, we tap into our subconscious that is always interpreting our situations and surroundings. What we do with it becomes our experience. So what you are saying, what you are doing is the experience you are having. So if you are expressing gratitude and love and this day is beautiful and I was so happy that I spent time with my friends, or if you're expressing, I hate my job, traffic sucks, my kids are always busy, whatever you express, whatever is you are saying, whatever you are doing is your current experience. So remembering that we have power in our creatorship. Again, that was mentioned in week 2. All of these things are connected. And I'm just trying to put some puzzle pieces out there for you to put the pieces together. So what we say, what we do is our experience. How could it not be, right? How could that not be our experience if it's what we're experiencing? And so remembering that you have power in your words, you have power in your actions. So if we start speaking peace, we start experiencing peace. Magic, right? So I want to thank you so much for being a part of the Revolutionary Peace Project. I want to thank you because if you're listening to me right now, you have made it through this video. I have made it through this video. I am not going to let myself re-record it, even though there's a part of me that's already like, you have said too much, you must re-record. I'm so grateful to share. I am a big talker on peace because I do believe it is possible. I do believe that the only path to peace is for each of us to become peaceful. It is not an outside in, it is an inside out.